preface this. The information we're going to go over right now is just kind of informational. Notice there aren't any notes to write down. You're just going to discuss with me. I just feel like it's important for you to understand how your eye works, how light goes in, how it's focused, how you see, and I think it's important to note how you actually see colors. Not really a tested strategy, tested subject, but it's important for you to know. The more educated you are, the smarter you are. Okay, so I want to run through how the parts of your eye and how it all operates. So follow with me and ask questions when some interesting tidbit comes up. All right, so first of all, just the main basic parts of your eye. Important to notice. In the very, very front of your eye, there's a clear covering, and that clear covering is called the cornea. And that's an important part because it's a protectant layer for your eye. And you want to be very careful that you don't scratch it or poke it or anything like that, because the cornea does a lot for protection. Just behind the cornea are the remainder portions of your eye. You've got the colored portion of your eye, which is called your iris. Genetically, that's how you get the color. If you have pigment in there, pigment produces color. So some of you have blue eyes and brown eyes and green eyes and hazel eyes and whatever else. That's a genetic thing. I'm not going to get into a major discussion on why you have blue eyes and your dad has brown. That's not today's lesson. That you should have talked about in 7th grade. But I want you to know that that's called the iris, the color portion, and there's no real function for the iris. It's just the colored portion of your eye. Okay? Outside here is the sclera. That's the white portion. And then you've got your pupil, the black dot, which is not a black dot. I think I mentioned this to you the other day. It's actually a hole, and it's black because when you're looking in, there's no light back there, so it looks dark. When you go to the eye doctor, when they want to check your eyesight and see if everything's working properly and make sure your retina's okay and things like that, they'll dilate your eyes. They'll make the pupil really big, and then they can flash a light in there, and they can look right into your eye because it's a hole. Now, no, you can't poke anything through that hole right now because you have that nice cornea layer that protects you from poking something in your eye. Okay? So, but it is a hole. All right, now let me finish and I'll answer questions. That pupil is what allows light in. The pupil is what allows light into your eye. So notice I turned off all the lights. Everybody's pupils got bigger when I turned the lights off, because the pupil wants to let more light in. Of course, those of you next to the window, not as much, but over here, bigger, because the pupil wants to let more light in because it's got dark. When I turn all the lights on and everybody's like, oh, after we watch a movie and you turn the lights on, everybody complains, oh, my eyes. That's because your pupil went from this size to tiny, constricted, because now it doesn't want as much light in. So it literally opens and closes to let light in depending on what you're looking at. So those are your basic structures, okay? I'm going to kind of talk for a little while, and then I know you're going to have some questions. All right, now here's a side view I gave you a picture of. Okay, so again, you've got your basic parts. It has a little bit more than basic parts, which you don't have to memorize. But what happens, here's your layer of cornea, here's your iris, here's your pupil. When I look at things around the room, it's not just one beam of light coming in through the pupil. I mean, light is reflecting off of everything in this room into my eyes. So that means there is light, all kinds of rays of light coming into your eye, all at the same time. Well, that's a lot of light coming in. So right behind your eye, you have a lens. And it's a convex lens. All living creatures with eyes have convex lenses right behind the opening, right behind the pupil. A convex, remember your shapes? Convex means it goes outward, concave, caved in. It's a convex, outward bulge of a lens. The purpose of that, amazingly so that we have it in our eye, the purpose of that is to take all that light that's coming in and converge it. Convex lenses converge light, bring it together. takes all that light in, and it converges all that light that's coming in through that lens to a point, to one point. And it's supposed to converge all that light to a point on the back of your eye called the retina. The back of your eye, that's the name of it, the retina. Very important part, because that's where all the light gets focused. So the light gets focused on the retina. The image that's focused on the retina is a real image, which means, slow that down, good. So that real image gets focused on the retina, and then the impulses of light creating this image, they're sent to the optic nerve, which then sends the information to the brain, and your brain straightens everything out and tells you what you're looking at. But the important structures are the cornea for protection, the pupil, which is the hole to allow light in, and then you've got this important lens behind it which converges light to focus on the retina. Now, it's not always that everything happens and works well. There are muscles attached to the lens. There are muscles attached to your pupil. Ciliary. I think that's how you spell them. Ciliary muscles. The muscles attached to your lens kind of shape and form the lens depending on how much light is coming in, the angles of light is coming in, to make sure that it gets focused correctly on the retina. So the muscles that are attached to the lens can actually make the lens kind of bulge in and out, depending. So those are important muscles. And then you've got muscles attached to your pupil to make the pupil bigger or smaller, depending on the light. Now, when you get older, it's just a fact of life. Muscles start to weaken everywhere, but in your eyes too. And the muscles start to weaken, and I had great eyesight as a kid, but as I got older, the muscles attached to the lens weakened, and therefore, when light comes in, it wasn't focusing it properly on the retina. So, I had to get glasses. I had to put another lens in front of my eye to make sure when the light goes through this lens and then through the lens in my eye, it brings all that light to proper focus. So now I can see better when I need to read. I am farsighted. I can see things far away perfectly. That's not a problem. I can't see things near, so I had to get an extra lens in front of my eye to bring it all together. But that's your basic how you see kind of stuff. Okay? Just to run through nearsighted and farsightedness, because a lot of us have that. If you are, what do I do first? Nearsighted. Nearsighted means you can see near. You are nearsighted. That's what you're comfortable with. But you have trouble seeing far away. Well, what they say that's going on with your eye is that the eyeball is not, well, the lens isn't working properly, but also the eyeball has become elongated. The lens is stretching out, the cornea is bulging, and your eyeball's becoming elongated. And so when the light comes in through the lens, it focuses too soon, because the eyeball's too long, focuses too soon and not directly on the retina. That's what causes farsightedness. Okay? Nearsightedness, sorry. I always forget which one I did first. Nearsightedness. So when you're nearsighted, the focus point is before the retina, and you don't see things clearly when you're far away. So to fix that again, you put a lens in front. This time you want a concave lens, because concave lens will spread the light out a little bit. It'll spread the light out first, and then bring it in, and hopefully to the retina this time. So corrective lenses are just to make sure light gets focused on the retina in the proper place. That's why we use them. So nearsightedness, you have trouble seeing far. You need a concave lens to diverge light to make sure it focuses. When you're farsighted, you have trouble seeing near. You use a convex lens to fix your eyesight, to converge it more on the retina. So that's what lenses are for. Now some people are nearsighted in one eye, farsighted in the other. So they have to have two different lenses to fix that. Okay, so basic eye information. What can I help you with? I know you had some questions and I made you wait. Jules?
Like when we feel our eye, okay, it always sounds kind of weird, but when you close your eye, it's like the C, the pupil like still in front, or does it like spin behind her?
You can move your eyes, yeah, so you can look up, that means your pupil's up.
Oh no, but does your, like I know like I can go like cross-eyed or whatever,
Yeah.
like does your eyes ever like go backward?
Oh, can they go back?
Don't you
Yeah,
have your head?
Yeah, they can go back.
They do, right?
They can't completely spin around because there are muscles and nerve endings and things that, so the back, look, the back of your eye, I need something round. This isn't great, but the back of your eye is attached with nerve endings and the optic nerve. So it can move like this. It can move up and down and side to side, but it couldn't spin all the way around.
I know, but when you close your eye, does like where do they go?
Well, they could. Do they have to? No. I don't know what happens to your eyes when you close them. They could roll, but not all the way, like just up like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they can. And when you touch right here, you have to be careful. Don't poke as fast. Okay? But you can't really feel much because it's all pretty smooth due to the cornea, the covering that's in the front.
Yeah, I was trying to feel the hole.
No, because you've got that nice cornea to protect you. But it'll hurt if you start to poke around on your eye like that too much. It'll start to hurt because it's got nerves and things. Alexandra?
I was just going to ask, so people like I can like make one eye go this way, like while the other is going straight. Is that because my muscles are stronger?
That's your brain. That's your motor skills. Your brain is telling your eyes to do things.
Okay.
I can't do it. Some people can, some people can't. It's a talent.
Okay. You just said it's a talent. And I was like, what?
It's a talent. So some people can, some people can't. Sophie?
Does the cornea protect from UV?
No.
Not at all.
No.
We should make one.
So here's the problem. Excuse me. The question was, does the cornea protect you from UV radiation? The answer is no. Closing your eyes does, but you got to walk around with your eyes open so you can see where you're going. The cornea is just a protective coating so that things don't get through the pupil into your eye. But what UV can do is it can pass through the cornea, through the pupil, and if it hits the back of your eye, it'll damage the retina. It can burn the retina. In fact, there are multiple cases of people burning the retina, like looking directly into the sun and burning the retina and having problems with sight. They get black spots that they see, lots of problems. So that's why you have to protect your eyes, because UV radiation, when your eyes are open, UV radiation is coming in, and you don't want direct UV, that's really bad, but you have to protect them, because your retina is a very sensitive area on the back of the eye, and that is the most important area for sight. That's where light gets focused. If there's damage to the retina, focused light cannot send signals through the optic nerve to the brain.
Like at the eye doctor or whatever, you know how they like flash the light and then they like puff it like the air in? What is that for?
Yeah, what is that?
When they flash the light and puff air in.
Yeah, like you like look in the machine and they like flash a light really big and then they puff air into your eye.
He or she is looking into your eye. I don't know if the air is to, you know how when you put air pressure, it stretches, it spreads. Maybe it's making sure the cornea is nice and taut, straight. I don't know. I'm guessing. I don't know what the air part is for. I don't know that for sure. That's interesting. Because I don't remember the air part.
They do it at Lens Crafters when you have to get your eye checked. For glasses and
I check
stuff.
every year, but I don't remember the air. Doesn't mean it didn't happen. Could be
Yeah.
I'm old and I just don't remember. But I will ask next time because I go every summer. So I will ask to give more detail. Yeah.
You have learned more as a student, right?
Mm-hmm.
From moms and dads.
Yes, I already asked her 2 questions to verify my information, and I was right. Yes, David.
When you can't see and you need glasses, it's because of your optic nerve or your muscles getting tired.
Usually muscles.
And if you wear like the wrong type of glasses long enough, could it make your eyes worse?
Because your eyes will try to react and compensate for what you're putting up in front of them and what you're making them do. Yeah, something else came to my mind, but I'll wait. Marissa?
When your pupil like gets bigger, why wouldn't the iris like be like spread out? Like the hole's gonna be.
You know what? That opening is attached with the iris, so it's just a hole. So the iris is really where the hole is. So as the hole gets bigger, it compresses the iris part, you know, which is, it's like taking,
It's like the iris is a sponge.
yes, it's kind of like that. So it just kind of closes over, it closes in. There's muscles in there, ciliary muscles, and so they like push it in, pull it out, push it in, pull it out within that iris. Yeah. So Jules, did you have your hand up?
It's fine. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I just felt like, you know, we're talking about light is how you're allowed to see things. When light reflects off, it goes into your eye. And I thought, you know what, they should know how it goes into your eye. What are the parts of your eye? How does it work? But a couple more things. I also want you to know how you see colors. And it all has to do with back here on your eye. When light gets focused on the retina, there are cells. There are cells located on the retina called rod cells and cone cells. And the rod cells help you see in dim light. So as soon as I turn those lights off, your rod cells came into action. The little bit of light that was coming in, it takes that in to help you try to see things better. The cone cells are all about color, just colorception. So when brighter light comes on, your cone cells will take the reflected light and tell you what color you're seeing. So you have these receptors, rod and cone receptors. You have about 10 to 1 rod cells. They're a little more plentiful than the cone cells are. And the cone cells are located, and I didn't put that part of the eye on here, the fovea, I think it's called. You get a lot more cone cells located in a part of the eye called the fovea. But rod cells help you see in dim light, cone cells help you see colors, and they're located on the back of the eye called the retina. So when you are looking at, say, a red apple, light has to reflect off the red apple back to your eye. Well, light is made up of all the colors of the spectrum, red to violet. What happens is when light hits this, the colors of the visible spectrum are absorbed except for the long wavelength red colors. This is a red apple. It was made that way naturally. For us to see it as red, light hits it and only the red long wavelengths of color reflect back to our eye. When you're looking at something white, like this box, I know this box is white because that's how it was made, but I see it as white because white light hits it and all the colors of light reflect back. If it's white, every single color will reflect back. If something is black, I see it as black because light hits it and none of the wavelengths of color reflect back to my eyes. Light reflects, but the wavelengths of color, the color spectrum, it does not. It's absorbed. So, you know, you see the hinges and hues of light bouncing around it. But the color black is all color absorbed. That's why wearing black shirts outside makes you so much hotter, because you're absorbing all that visible light energy of colors. You absorb it all. Now, what about pink? You know, what about turquoise? Or, you know, colors that are not in the rainbow? Well, here's what happens. And be careful, those of you that are visual art majors, because the color wheel of light, you know, primary, secondary colors of light are different than in painting and paints and things like that. Those cone cells that I told you that help you distinguish color, there are 3 kinds. There are red receptor cone cells, blue and green. Red, blue, and green are the primary colors of light. Red, blue, and green. So you have these 3 cone receptors. Now I know this looks kind of yellow, but it's supposed to be green. Now, when you see something that's pink, that means, here's pink, magenta, pink. That means the red and the blue cone receptors are both taking in wavelengths and they're blending. They blend wavelengths of color. The reds and the blues blend their wavelengths of color. And that's how you start to see something as, it's like mixing colors. That's how you see pink. If you see something that's yellow, you would think, well, yellow's bouncing off. Well, you only have 3 cone receptors. So yellow's bouncing off, but it'll be the green and the red receptors that will distinguish that for you as yellow. If it's a turquoise, C stands for cyan, C-Y-A-N is a turquoisey color. Again, it's a mixture of your green and blues receptors. So by blending wavelengths into your cone cell receptors, you can get all kinds of other colors. You know, you can get wavelengths that make pink blending with wavelengths that make turquoise and get a whole other set of colors. All the wavelengths of light come in and your cone cells are responsible for distinguishing what that color is reflecting off that object. And they do that by wavelengths and frequencies of light colors. Just blending them together. Just like you could take paint and blend different colors of paint to make other colors, you can do the same thing with light. You can blend light to make other colors. Marissa?
So black is no color?
Is no color. And white is all colors. White is white light. All colors. And then any color in between there is a reflection of certain colors from the color spectrum.
Somebody told me that like black and white are just shades.
Okay, maybe in visual art stuff, but if you're talking about how you see black or how you see white, it has to do with what is being reflected off. No colors are reflected off of black, all the colors are reflected off of white. You know, you got to be careful with what artists do and what we're talking about here with light colors. Sophie?
What about colorblind people?
You know what happens with that? There's so many reasons why somebody could be colorblind, but those cone cell receptors, the red, blue, and green receptors, are not functioning properly. There are many different types of color blindness. There's pure color blindness where you just don't see color at all. You see shades of gray, black. There's red-green color blindness. Your red and green cone receptors confuse wavelengths. So you could be looking at something that's red, but you'll decipher it as green because your cone cells got everything mixed up. There's all different varying degrees. Mr. Miller, I don't know if you have him from Language Arts, he's slightly colorblind. There's just so many certain shades of color he has all kinds of trouble distinguishing, and it has to do with whatever cone cell receptors are not functioning properly. So you're not just all the way colorblind. You could be partially, certain colors colorblind. There's all kinds of degrees for that. But it all deals with how your cone cells are working. Are they deciphering that wavelength correctly, or are they mixing them up? What are they doing? And because they'll send that information to the brain, which will confuse you.
Miss Carol last year, she told me that she always used colored paper because white hurts your eyes because you're getting all different colors there. So it's easier to look at a neon color than looking at white.
I don't know. Colored paper's pretty because you're looking at different colors, but neon colors can be very irritating to the eyes too. So yeah, neon colors can be irritating. So I don't know. You know.
Well, this is kind of like not what but it's related. But
Go ahead.
Is how would you know that you're colorblind? Like, how would you figure it out?
That question comes up all the time because say you had red-green color blindness, and does anybody have a red shirt? Okay, well Louisa kind of does. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So back here, and so you have red-green color blindness. So you're looking at this, and to you it looks green, but everybody else in the room calls it red. You probably would have learned at an early age when you see green, it's red.
Okay.
You know it's green to you, but it's called red by everybody. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What you're seeing, you've learned a different name for. You follow me on that? Her eyes show her it's green, but she doesn't know that's green. She thinks of it as red because that's what it's always been called. So green to her is red and red to her is green.
But then how would you know that you're
You wouldn't
wrong?
unless somebody told you.
Oh.
How would you know?
Yeah.
Somehow it would probably get figured out.
Like if they went to
Like
the eye
a
doctor.
stoplight, red is on top, green is on the bottom. But here again, so would you just know when the bottom light goes on, you think it's red, but everybody calls it green. So still, how would you know?
Yeah.
Wait,
Or
no, oh, why isn't
wait. Yeah.
Or if they say, if they say green is on the top,
Yeah, but she's gonna see.
No,
She's
if
gonna
they
see
say
red.
That's not red.
If they say red is on top, that person knows the color
They're
green
learning
and
that.
turned red, so they'll still associate
Right.
it.
Okay, when you're saying this, you're saying that they see it and no one really knows what they see. But if someone asks you to paint a red sculpture and
There
then
you
you
go.
take the color green and paint it, then everyone's gonna be like, that's green.
No, because you've learned green
as.
Oh, okay.
No,
Okay,
but
that
like,
might be it.
Yeah.
If you were asked to bring out colors or to paint colors or draw, then it might be known because when they say, hey, go grab the red crayon, you would go grab the green crayon.
Yeah.
Because you learned it to be red.
Wait, no, but wouldn't the red look green to you?
Maybe we're all colorblind and that's
Yeah, that's been brought up in every single class. In every single class we've tried to figure out how would you tell if you were colorblind.
There's a test. That's like an app.
But like Mr. Miller knows, so somehow he somebody
Should we go ask him?
Should we go ask him?
Not now.
People are going out for period.
No, there's a test. Like, there's an app.
No, there's a
Yes, there are.
Wow,
There's a, listen, excuse me, please, I can't believe it here, so be quiet. There is a red-green color blindness test.
I have it on my phone because my dad's colorblind.
Okay, so there are tests that you could take. I know they have those. Mia?
Okay, so like if you were like taking notes or something like about like blood and you know how you see it like green and blue, wouldn't it be red here and then it would be red?
Yeah, it would be opposite. Yeah, it'd be opposite of what, yeah. The opposite. Okay, so yes, that discussion always comes up. It's an interesting one.
Wait, no.
So to move on, or you can stay with me from now until dismissal. To move on, I just wanted to give you some basic structure, just to educate you a little. Now you know a little bit more about how your eye works. I wanted you to definitely know why something looks white. That's important for you to know that all the colors are reflecting off the white, and all the colors are being absorbed for black, and otherwise in between, it's that wavelength or frequency that's reflecting off, and that's how your eye distinguishes color from one thing to another. Okay, I have for you, because that's my only reason, because I have for you, a song.
Are you gonna play the song for me?
Did you hear that note? It came out blue. All right, all you cool cats. Now back to the lecture. Now you know something? Without light, there is no color. All right, turn out the light. Hey, up there, wake up. There, you see? Nothing. Without light, it's nothing. Without light, how do we know what this is? A tennis ball or a Rutabaga? So, now let's have some light on the subject. Aha! An orange maybe. A large plum? No. A head of lettuce? No. Now, we put all the colors together. Red, blue, and green, which gives white. I'm surprised. Isn't you? Of course you are. Now we can see what we got. A juicy red apple. Oh, that just proves one thing. Never eat an apple in the dark. Oh, it's raining. Go off the lecture. All right, give them a rain check. We come back. Goodbye, and then... Oh, what am I saying? Look at it. That was the rain. That was the spectrum. You see the flashing off of my spectacles. And that breaks up the light into a color spectacular like a rainbow. Now, let's see what's at the end of the rainbow. Gold, a pot, no, a piano, of course. Now, the human brain, and that's located in the head, you know, somewhere, sees only one octave of color. But even with our little color octave here, we can mix 10 million different shades. And I don't know because I counted every one of them just before the program. Now, for a little color harmony. For the first time on TV, Tom Drake will play for you in color. I call it a spectrum song, but it's about that. So now we're going to do the song. Red, yellow, green, red, blue, 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 red, purple, green, yellow, on the red, 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 yellow, green, red, blue, 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 red, purple, green, yellow, on the red, red. Blend them up and what do you get? Cerise, and aqua, mauve, beige, and ultramarine, and every color in between. Yeah, canvas, fountain, bow wow, color has its harmony, and just like I have said. Red, yellow, green, red, blue, 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 red, purple, green, yellow, blue, purple, purple. Wait a second, what am I saying? It's supposed to finish with the red. Red. out, and we don't want you to feel left out of it. Here for you. Black, black, dirty, white, dirty, 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 white, dirty, white, dirty, dirty, white, black, 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 dirty, white, dirty, 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 white, white, dirty, 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 black, black. All right, now you happy? You don't feel left out? Now I want to get back to my song. Blend them up and what do you get dirty? Just within aqua, mouth, Asian, ultimately, and ever collide in between. Hey, hi, ho, hey, black, black, collide in harmony. And just like I had said, red, yellow, green, red, blue, 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 red, purple, green, blue, purple, red, and white, and green, and red, and red, and blue, and it's... Ooh, what a show-off! How do you like that guy? I'm gonna let you in on something. Confidentially, he dyes his setup.
Okay, sorry. It was too cute, but it made me laugh when he went to the black, 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 gray, white, like, I thought, what is he doing? It's like, at first I thought he was doing it for people that are colorblind, and I was kind of like, that's me. Why are you doing that? But then he says, for those that have black and white TVs and not color TVs, because that's old, here's a song for you. I was like, oh, black and white TV to color. First I thought he was being mean.
Yeah.
That was extremely amusing. I thought so.
I was like in France.
Now, here's what you're going to do, because you're not out of here till 10 till. I'm going to give you the electromagnetic spectrum study guide for your test, which is the 28th. You might want to write that down at the top when you get it. February 28th, Thursday, February 28th. And it's probably not really a test, it's more like a quiz, because there's not a ton of information here. So just a little quiz / small test. Okay, so I'm going to give this to you. Please start working on it, look over it, let me know if you have any questions. Also, for those of you so inclined, I have my big container of nail polish up here, UV nail polish, but you're going to listen first. Here's a clear. It turns like a pinkish reddish color. Here's a green, which turns a darker, not so great pretty color. Here are some lighter ones, and they don't do a whole lot. What you can do is test them under the UV light, okay? Here's a yellow glitter that turns, I forget, pink, turns like a pink. Yeah, you're just going to have to figure them out yourself. How's that? Here's a silver glitter. You'll have to figure it out yourself. Okay? Yeah, you can put them under the light. They'll change. So, quote, sit. I'm going to get these out first. All right? Don't fight over the nail polish, but you can certainly paint your nails if you're so